Welcome to Project U 2.2, where my goal is to help you break barriers and step confidently into an elevated version of yourself. This podcast dives into mindset, growth, and creating the life you were meant to live. I'm Carrie, a former teacher turned leadership and growth mentor, helping people overcome self-doubt and embrace their next chapter. I believe you are your greatest project. Each week, we'll explore the habits, stories, and strategies that help you break barriers, step into your potential, and level up your life. Let's get started. I want to start today by asking you a question. If your life were a wheel, how smoothly would it roll? Would it glide forward with ease, steady and balanced, or would it wobble, dragging and bumping along, slowing you down no matter how hard you try to move forward? That's what we're diving into today, the wheel of life. And I'll tell you right now, by the end of this episode, you'll understand why so many people get stuck living with imbalance, and why fine and okay become traps, and most importantly, how you can finally step into a life that feels round, balanced, and filled with momentum. So if you've been feeling stretched thin, or maybe like something in your life is off, but you can't quite put your finger on it, this episode is for you. Before we dive deeper, let me explain why this matters to me so much. For 31 years, I poured myself into my teaching. It was my career, my calling, and I loved it. At the same time, I was raising 3 boys, trying to be the best mom I could be, trying to keep the house running, trying to be everything to everyone. And somewhere in the middle of that, I lost myself. My health slipped, my spark dimmed, my days became about survival, not joy. And I didn't realize at the time that my wheel of life was completely out of balance. One slice, my career, was full. My family slice, that was full too. But health, self-care, joy, adventure, those pegs were sitting way too close to zero. And I was dragging myself forward on a wheel that could barely roll. It wasn't until I decided to take my health back and reclaim my joy that things started shifting. One choice at a time, one small step at a time, and now, having lost over 50 pounds, retiring after 31 years, and stepping into this next chapter as a coach, I know what it feels like to go from dragging a broken wheel to rolling forward with purpose. That's why I share this tool today, because I've lived it. So let's break this down. As a math teacher, I love graphs, so imagine a pie chart. Picture a circle, divided into slices like a pie. Each slice represents an area of your life. Your finances, your relationships, your career, your health, your personal growth, fun and recreation, your spiritual life, and finally your environment, your home, your surroundings, the space you live in. Now imagine that each slice is numbered from 0 at the center of the circle to 10 on the outer edge. 0 means that you are completely unfulfilled. 10 means that that area of your life is thriving. Here's a part I love that came to me on a walk recently with our dog Kelvin. Earlier this week, I was walking and I was just thinking about imagining placing wooden pegs on each slice of that circle graph at the number that represents where you are right now. In my mind, I was just imagining a round cribbage board with little holes drilled from 0 to 10 in each area and wooden pegs placed where you are right now. So imagine if you put a peg at the number 5 in each area. Your wheel would be round if you connected those. It might not be perfect, but at least it's going to roll. But if one peg is at a 9, say your career, and another is at a 2, say your health, your wheel isn't round anymore and it gets wobbly. It drags, and that's what so many of us live with. Where would you put your pegs right now? If you had to rate your finances, your health, your relationships, your career, what numbers would you choose? And if you stepped back and looked at that wheel, would it roll smoothly? Or would it be bumpy and drag? Think about the entrepreneur who builds a thriving business, spends 70 hours a week working, but comes home to an empty house because relationships were neglected along the way. Or worse, he comes home, sits alone in the closet, rolled up in an emotional mess, wondering how success could feel so empty. Maybe he turns to drinking or numbing habits to fill the void because success without connection is hollow. It's lonely. Think about the mom who gives every ounce of energy to her family, school lunches, soccer practice, endless to-do lists. But she hasn't had time to move her body, nourish her health, or even read a book for herself in years. She's exhausted. But she keeps pushing because she thinks putting herself last is the only way to show love. Think about the man or woman who is obsessed with saving, investing, and chasing financial success but hasn't taken a vacation in a decade. Fun, laughter, adventure, gone. Or the person who seems to have it all together on the outside, but inside, they feel spiritually empty, disconnected from anything deeper than the daily grind. That's not thriving. That's imbalance. Do any of those stories resonate with you? Where are you pouring out so much that another area of your life is drying up? Here's the part that breaks my heart. People normalize this. They say that's just how life is, and they shrug off their exhaustion. They tell themselves that it's selfish to want more, and slowly, without realizing it, they settle for mediocrity. Mediocrity doesn't show up overnight. It sneaks in slowly. It whispers, "This is fine. You're fine. Don't rock the boat. Don't dream too big." Many of us don't even realize how unbalanced we are because we just keep pushing instead of slowing down to examine the different areas in our lives. Many don't realize it until someone else points it out to them. Sometimes it takes a wake-up call, like a health scare, a divorce, or a spouse saying, "Enough," before we finally pause and examine our priorities. Research consistently shows men are less likely to notice or act on stress, mental health, or lifestyle imbalance compared to women. Men may push through symptoms or ignore warning signs until a major event occurs. Many men are raised to prioritize work over self-care, making it less likely they'll examine balance on their own. As a mom of 3 boys, this concerns me. According to the CDC, men are more likely to die from heart disease at earlier ages than women, often because they don't monitor stress or lifestyle factors. Men are also less likely to visit doctors regularly, making them slower to notice chronic conditions. Studies in family psychology show men often recognize relational dissatisfaction later than women, and sometimes only after a spouse initiates separation. Women also experience imbalances, but men on average are slower to notice or act until a major life event forces awareness. Women often notice when things are off earlier than men. They might feel drained, overwhelmed, or stretched thin long before it becomes a crisis. Many of us juggle work, family, and responsibilities, yet keep pushing, hoping to manage it all, until burnout or stress forces us to slow down. To all of us, we weren't made for fine. You weren't made to just get through your days. You weren't meant to drag a lopsided wheel behind you. You know what you were made for? You were made to roll forward with strength, with joy, with energy, with purpose. Where have you settled for fine in your life? Where have you convinced yourself that okay is all that you can hope for? Why do so many people stay stuck? It's all in their beliefs. So many people build their belief system on shaky ground. It's like sitting on a stool with wobbly legs. One leg is the belief, I'm not smart enough. Another leg says, I don't deserve it. Another whispers, it's too late for me. Sure, you can balance your wheel for a while, but the minute one leg weakens, the whole stool wobbles. That's not a safe foundation to build your life on. In coaching, we don't just patch the stool, we rebuild it. We replace those weak legs with strong ones. Legs that say, I am capable, I am worthy, I can change, I deserve more. These aren't just silly mantras or feel-good sayings. We pair them with small, actionable steps that shift the way you think and behave so those statements ring true and become part of your daily life. Suddenly, your stool is steady, you can stand on it, you can see further, you can rise higher. What's a belief that you've been holding on to that feels shaky? And if you replaced it with something empowering, how might your life be different? Let me share a coaching strategy for this about how we actually start creating balance. We begin by bringing all of your pegs, all your areas of life, up to at least a 5 on that wheel of balance. Balance before brilliance. Stability before stretching. Imagine wrapping a rubber band around all of those pegs that are placed at number 5 in each area of your life. That rubber band holds them in balance, and then each week in our one-on-one calls, we start stretching, not in giant, overwhelming leaps, but in micro actions, tiny, simple steps that move you from a 5 to a 6. Remember, growth isn't linear. You'll stretch, sometimes you'll snap back, and that's okay. Often we start with great intentions, whether through conversation or our work, but then we get in our own heads and we doubt the process, we doubt ourselves. That's normal. The rubber band is still there, holding you. You won't collapse. You won't fall all the way back to 0. The good news is, each time we step back, it's usually less and less because you're building momentum, awareness, and stronger habits that carry you forward. Over time, as we keep stretching together, that rubber band loses its tight grip, stops pulling you back, and suddenly you realize you're not just living at a 5 anymore. You've stretched into a 6, and then a 7, maybe higher. It feels natural. It feels possible. If you could stretch one area of your life from a 5 to a 6 this month, what area would make the biggest difference for you? This is exactly how my health journey unfolded. I didn't go from a 2 to a 10 overnight. Honestly, I'm still not at a 10. I know I can always level up. But I didn't flip a switch. I started with one choice, one walk, one better meal, one healthier thought. I had setbacks, plenty of them. There were weeks when I slipped back, but I didn't fall to 0 because I had balance. Slowly I stretched. Slowly I built new beliefs, and now looking back, I realized it wasn't about the huge leaps. Even though that's what we think we want. We think we want to go from 0 to 10 overnight. But it's the micro actions stacked one on top of the other that change everything. It's the journey. If I can do it, you can too. I want you to imagine this right now. Imagine waking up with energy, looking at your life, feeling proud in every area. It's not perfect, but it's balanced. Imagine rolling forward on a wheel that's strong and round instead of dragging. Imagine standing on a stool that's sturdy, made of beliefs that empower you. Imagine laughing again, feeling alive again, living in your soul with purpose again. That's not a dream. It's possible for you. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in my clients' lives. And I believe it's waiting for you too. If you could paint a picture of your ideal balanced life, what would it look like? What would change? How would you feel when you woke up each morning or when you're laying in bed at night? When the darkness surrounds you and your head won't stop, your brain won't shut off. You know my challenge is coming. Are you ready for it? Don't settle for fine. Don't keep dragging that broken wheel night after night with those nagging thoughts. Day after day, pushing yourself, spinning on that lopsided wheel. Don't keep sitting on a stool that could crumble at any moment. You deserve balance. You deserve strength. You deserve joy. If you're ready to start stretching into that next version of yourself, the version of you who feels alive again, I would love to walk with you. This is your moment to take back your spark, your time to shine. Let's build your wheel together. If you would like more information on how to work with me or my husband Greg, visit our website at www.projectu22.org. I've also created a free Wheel of Life worksheet for you to map out your own life balance after listening to this episode. Just DM me the word wheel on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and I'll send it straight to you. Thank you for tuning in to Project U 2.2. Remember, you are your greatest project, and every step you take brings you closer to an elevated version of yourself. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend, subscribe, leave a review so we can inspire even more people. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, break through your barriers, and step boldly into your next chapter.